thank you for joining us today. My name is Chad Matheson, Interim President and CEO for the Albuquerque Regional Economic Alliance, and I'm joined today by Mr. Don Tarry, President and CEO of P&M. Don, welcome.
Thank you, Chad, and thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely. We have several things on the horizon at Area that we're really excited about, one of which is our upcoming Town Hall event on September 18th. And it's an opportunity for Area to engage a wider audience of economic development stakeholders. Tell me why bringing together stakeholders across business, education, and civic institutions matters in a regional economic development context.
Thanks, Chad, and it's absolutely critical for collaboration. Collaboration is how we move things forward in New Mexico, and specifically the collaboration that allows us to create alignment with all the different stakeholders, whether they're public stakeholders or private stakeholders. It allows communication to happen and allows us to kind of learn from each other and create that alignment as we move forward on the exciting journey that we have together.
The past several years have been amazing to watch Area 1.0 unfold, and a part of that has been calling different voices to the table and leveraging those voices inside of our board of directors and really setting the stage for the next wave of the strategic plan and the economic strategy on behalf of Greater Albuquerque. So when you think about September 18th and how that ties into our retreat for our board of directors, what are you most hopeful for as an outcome of those discussions and how we can set the stage for the next several years for Area as an organization, but also the Greater Albuquerque region?
As we look at that town hall and we create and listen to each other and create that alignment, that consistent alignment as we kind of look forward, what it creates is momentum. And we've seen some great momentum over the last 5 years. Excited about that momentum. I'm a big sports fan, and you think about those basketball shots, and you have a team that's kind of losing it, and they hit a shot, and then they hit another shot, and what happens is success starts to happen, that momentum starts to build. And the town hall is a perfect place to start that momentum, and then as we can kind of continue into the strategic planning session to kind of carry forward that momentum, because we have big hopes and big desires to have big results in the future as we go forward.
I want to bring forward the idea of momentum, and I think that's a great word to use in how the organization has led different economic initiatives over the past several years. When you reflect on the Area 1.0 strategy and the momentum that we have built, what are you most excited to reflect on? And how does that dovetail into future planning for the organization and for the region?
I think the biggest success we've seen is bringing the public partners and the private partners or the businesses together with one single vision of collaboration and alignment, that we've seen that momentum start to happen. And economic development drives jobs, improves education, and as you bring those parties together, which all of them are vested in improvements in New Mexico and continuing the great path we've been on, it provides that opportunity. And as we've seen some successes and some wins, that's just the beginning. I look forward to as we continue to partner together and have these strategic retreats and lay that vision out, really increasing that momentum, increasing that speed of execution.
It's been wonderful to be a part of that process over the past several years and fitting that into not just an organizational work plan, but tying it into larger macroeconomic discussions, which I think is so important and ties directly into our conversations of how do we better partner, how can we be a better partner to different organizations here within the region, but continue to lead those very important discussions. And that's going to be an ingredient to the town hall as we set the stage for the next strategic plan. What's so exciting is our board specifically has been engaged in not just thinking about it being an organizational strategy, but how do we broaden this to an economic strategy? I'd be curious to get kind of our early stage ideas about what are you most excited for in the next strategic plan, and what are we most hopeful for as outcomes, both from the board retreat, but also as we set the stage for the end of 2025 and set the stage for a productive and exciting 2026.
You know, we've had some great successes, and it's about building upon those successes. Site readiness and infrastructure build. This last legislative session by the work of everybody involved, including area and the state and the governor, we were able to accomplish that legislation through. And that's going to create opportunities. So excited about that. As you look at workforce and workforce development, absolutely critical as you think about economic development. They want to have the workforce there, so you got to bring that along as you look at kind of moving it forward. Those are a couple of the key ones that I'm very focused on. There'll be other ones as we listen to the stakeholders and partners that are there as we continue to drive it forward.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned site readiness. That was a 3-year initiative for area, for myself personally, involved in the economic research and building the evidence for why site readiness matters in a competitive economic development context, but also bringing some of those leaders to the table to really kind of galvanize that conversation. It's an exciting one, and one that, because it's not hitting the headlines right now doesn't mean it's stopped, right? We are very actively engaged with the state and our local partners on developing out the RFI processes for the sites that were submitted in the greater Albuquerque region and working through those so that we have more evidence of what is the cost of infrastructure and how much will it take to advance the readiness of these sites for and on behalf of the region. So some great things happening and some great things on the horizon come September 18 as we fold into both our town hall event as well as our board retreat. But I want to take a moment and reflect on the 505 Awards and Area's annual dinner, and maybe just for a moment kind of set the stage for the purpose and why it's so exciting to bring people in to celebrate some of those wins as an organization, but more importantly as a community at large.
I think the key element is it brings excitement, and it helps us recognize the great accomplishments we've had over the past year. You think about it. We talked a little bit about today about alignment, momentum. That's kind of the summation of the momentum that we've seen is the celebration of folks that have taken an active interest in kind of moving the dial as it relates to economic development. Yeah. It's a great time to gather. It happens towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's always a great themed opportunity to get together and talk about the successes. But it also then starts to drive the next year and the focus of the next year and the years to come to create that continued momentum that we need as we move forward.
Yeah. As I reflect on it myself, it's Area's 65th year this year. And when I think about that, I think about legacy. The leadership that's been involved, the people who have been engaged, that have moved important initiatives forward, and thinking through what the next 65 years could look like. Planting the seeds of the next several decades of legacy, I think, will be an important undertone of the 505 and something that we can definitely come together and celebrate at a tremendous scale. So Don, thank you for being here today. As we close the conversation, if we could tie this all together, thinking through the town hall, the strategic planning, and the 505 awards, what are some key takeaways that you'd like our audience to come away with today and how they should be excited about what's to come?
I think number one is we're at a critical time, I think, and when you look at the economy, you look at the opportunities that exist around us, the opportunities we've had here in New Mexico, it's a great opportunity as we first collaborate, then we align, then we build the momentum that we've been building, and then we execute on that momentum. And so as we lead into the town hall, the strategic retreat, the 505, and then into next year, it's a great opportunity. Let's go capture the successes that we know that are out there and continue to move this great state forward.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us today. Join us for our town hall. Join us for our 505 awards. And most importantly, join us for the next chapter as we lead into 2026 and the years to come.